There's one thing in life I know is for sure, and that's that we all have to die at some point. Now, throughout our lives, we're going to sit here and hopefully we become very successful, especially if we have some kids. There will be things that we want to leave back for our children. And this is where wills and trusts come in. And growing up, I've heard about it, but I never really understood the difference between it, especially when we start to talk about trust. So in this video, I'm going to help break down the difference between a will and a trust. And I'm also going to give my recommendation of which I think may be the best for our future. So let's start with a will. A will is essentially a legal document that's going to say what we want done with our assets when we pass away. We're going to name a person called an executor, and that person is going to oversee and make sure whatever it says in the will happens. So you may write down in your will that you want your car to go to this person, you want your house to go to this person, you want your Pokemon collection to go to this person. It's a set of instructions of what you want to do with all the things you have amassed. No, the thing with a will is you are subject to something called probate, and probate happens when you pass away. The court gets involved, and now they want to make sure that everything you said in the will is good and that is all valid. The problem with this is it can take time and money. I know, for example, where I'm from in the Virgin Islands, I've seen cases where it took 3 to 7 years in probate before the loved ones was able to start moving around assets, paying off things, and so forth. And this could become very problematic, especially if you, as the one that set up this will, was thinking that they could immediately start to do things and they will improve their lives or whatever the case may be. And that's where a trust is going to come in. So a trust is essentially another vehicle to make sure your stuff goes where you want after you pass away. But there is some big difference. With a will, you just write down whatever it is you want to happen. With a trust, it's a legal entity that you will place these assets into. So for example, you will set up your trust. In my case, it's the Webb Family Trust. And now I will transfer my home or put the name of my trust and the deed for my home. Just like accounts, I will go into the bank with my birth certificate of my trust and put the trust as a account holder on my bank accounts. I will also set up a what you call a trustee, which, like the executor, is the person that will help make sure all the things go according to what you dictated in your trust. Now, while you're alive, this person can be you, because of course situation may change. You may get married, you may have more kids, so you want to be able to change that. But it can also be somebody you trust. In my case, I put myself while I'm living, and I put somebody I trusted just in case I pass away suddenly. That person still has some instructions and the power to be able to make decisions. Now, the big thing with a trust is going to avoid probate. So no longer does the court need to get involved. When I pass away, the person that I set as my trustee has the power to now start allocating the assets or whatever the case may be where it needs to go based on whatever directions I left back in my trust. And this is why, though a trust is going to cost a little bit more money to set up, I really recommend you guys to get a trust instead of a will. Not only that, we want to make sure that we are preaching generational wealth and we are setting our loved ones up for success, so that when we pass away, we don't just leave back money and the money gets squandered. Imagine you at 18 coming into $1 million and you have no financial literacy. So this is why I would rally for you guys to, for one, financially educate yourself, and then when establishing your trust or your will, if that's what you decide to go with, you actually leave some concrete rules as to how some of your money should be used, as to how some of your assets should be allocated. Maybe you want to tell them they can't sell this asset. Maybe you want to tell them they can't get any access to any of this money until they talk to an estate planner or take this financial course. You want to leave back some stuff so that your money can last for a long time, and so that that person or that whoever you leave it back to doesn't just waste the opportunity and all your hard work goes to waste. This is how the Rockefellers and these big families are able to keep their wealth between generations and generations, because they did the education for themselves and they put rules in place so that their loved ones and whoever inherits their wealth are able to receive that same education and repeat the same steps that they did. If you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and drop a money bag in the comments if you're going to set up your will or trust today and you're interested in more videos concerning financial literacy and education.